Good morning. I hereby call to order this 11th meeting of the Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission for the year 2016. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Joining us on the phone this morning is Vice Chairman Place. Can you hear us, Vice Chairman?
Yes, good morning, Chairman. I'm on the line.
Great. Joining us also for the first time for his first public meeting is Commissioner David Sweet. On behalf of the commissioners, I'd like to welcome Commissioner Sweet to the commission and to the bench this morning. We all know that he has an extensive background in economic development and finance and will lend itself well to the commission's work and its mission, balancing the needs of the consumers and utilities. He brings with him a wealth of experience from both state government and private law practice, and my colleagues and I will value his diverse insight and his commitment to serving consumers as we address the important issues faced at the commission today. So I would give him a moment to make any comments if he would like at this time.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I appreciate those warm comments. Secondly, after seeing you wield that gavel, I sure don't want to be on the wrong side of it.
It's been practice.
That was a mighty stroke.
Learned from Chief Judge Rainey. So.
I just want to thank you for those remarks. Thank again Governor Wolf for nominating me to this commission, for the Senate for confirming me, both chairs Boscola, or excuse me, I better say Tomlinson first and Boscola second, for their gracious welcoming to me at the hearing they held. I thank the commissioners. Several attended the committee hearing and were supportive in every way. And finally, I do want to thank the PUC staff. Your legislative staff is really a crackerjack operation. The confirmation went smoothly. They didn't have much of a product to work with, but they shined me up and got me through it. And I very much thank everyone for it. It's an honor and privilege to serve on this commission, and I look forward to keeping up the pace. Thank you.
And we know you will. Great. So the first matter on this morning's agenda is the approval of the minutes from May 19, 2016, and I look to Commissioner Powelson as the editor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Before I seek approval of the minutes, I have a letter here from Senator Tomlinson, not only congratulating Commissioner Sweet, but he reminded me that after today's hearing, he'll make a review whether to rescind the vote for. Just kidding, Dave. Welcome aboard, seriously.
Hopefully they'll pass something and adjourn.
That's right. Well, Madam Chair, I have reviewed the minutes of the May 19th public meeting and recommend that they be approved as submitted here this morning.
We have a motion for the approval of the minutes. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Coleman. Any discussion, changes? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Place.
Aye. Sorry, I was on mute.
Thank you. The motion passes 5-0. And I will at this time call up our Director of the Office of Special Assistance, Cheryl Walker Davis, to lead us through today's agenda.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Good morning. Good morning, Commissioners. Welcome, Commissioner Sweet.
Good morning.
Good morning.
May it please this honorable commission, on behalf of your various offices and bureaus, we present for your consideration and disposition the following agenda items, commencing this morning with the matter involving the Philadelphia Gas Works Phase 2 regarding its initial demand-side management plan. It is recommended that the commission conduct a binding poll of the issues in this case. Polling sheets have been distributed to the public as well as to the commission. We note that those sheets are simply a vehicle to facilitate the orderly resolution of the issues in this proceeding. The issues on the sheet do not contain a full recitation of the positions of the parties, nor do they represent the foundation upon which the commission is voting. The commission has reviewed the totality of the evidentiary record and the positions of the party in reaching its decisions in this case. It is recommended that the commission conduct the binding poll.
Okay. And with that understanding, we will deviate a little bit from my normal parliamentary procedure, but I will ask that we just call up this matter for consideration with a motion
So moved.
and then a second.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Sweet, since this is his first time being here on the commission, and we will have a second by Commissioner Powson. So we will ask you to lead us through the different issues.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. With regard to issue number 1, DSM Phase 2 budget, LIERB, it should be noted, Madam Chairman, that you have a motion with regard to issues number 1 and 2. And so in addition to introducing issue number 1, I would also direct your attention to issue number 2 with regard to program funding involving general guidelines for gas utilities and the waiver request.
Thank you. I do have a motion, and I would ask that the motion be entered into the record in its entirety, and I will do an abbreviated version of it through a motion. Before the Commission for consideration and disposition is the petition of Pennsylvania Gas Works for the approval of its Phase 2 demand-side management plan for 2016 through 2020. One of the issues raised in this proceeding is the appropriate amount for PGW's Low-Income Usage Reduction Program, commonly known as LIERP. The ALJ recommends that PGW maintain the current LIERP budget for the remainder of the Phase 2 plan, which would be $7.6 million annually or $38 million total over the life of the plan. This outcome is consistent with the recommendations of the Office of Consumer Advocate and other parties. PGW proposes that current funding levels be reduced. The recommended decision reasons that PGW's LIERP at its current budget level is a cost-effective program that provides a significant benefit to both program participants and to the ratepayers who pay the cost of the program. The recommended decision further reasons that PGW has not demonstrated that the need of the LIERP program has decreased and has not met the regulatory requirements for a reduction in its LIERP budget. In contrast, PGW does not believe that maintaining a LIERP budget at current levels is sustainable and proposes to reduce its LIERP budget over the life of the plan to almost $16 million or approximately $3.2 million annually. PGW argues that this proposed budget meets statutory requirements that its LIERP be appropriately funded and significantly exceeds the regulatory requirements. PGW further seeks a waiver of our program funding regulations at Section 58.4 under our code, which mandates that a revision to a covered utilities program funding level is to be computed based on a 4-factor needs assessment. I have concerns with waiving these requirements. As such, I believe it is prudent for this commission to run its own needs assessment to guide our decision on the appropriate LIERP budget for PGW. Specifically, I propose to run a needs assessment using information from recent Universal Service and Energy Conservation Program filings for each of the major natural gas distribution companies. A review of these filings provides information related to a number of eligible LIERP jobs, number of anticipated jobs completed per year, the cost per job, the total LIERP budget, and the job completion rate. Using this information, I believe this commission can run 2 calculations that directly take into account 4 factors of a needs assessment in our regulations and that can help us determine the appropriate LIERP budget for PGW, including a job completion rate budget calculation and a historic cost budget calculation. A simple average of these 2 calculations results in an annual LIERP budget of $5.8 million. I believe this budget represents a reasonable result. Consistent with the Commission's regulations, I move that the official notice of these new facts and calculations be placed on the record and that parties of this proceeding be afforded the opportunity to comment on this LIAR budget figure. I would encourage the parties to address PGW's LIAR budget based upon the total cost of LIAR eligible projects and set a reasonable expectation of the time necessary to meet that need. Additionally, as evidenced by this motion and the administrative notice taken, there are many facts that were not developed on the record that are relevant to the funding of PGW's LIAR. The lack of record information on the demand-side management proceeding makes it more difficult for the Commission to make a decision regarding LIAR funding. This alone suggests that a more appropriate place for the Commission to consider LIAR issues would be in PGW's current or next USECP proceeding. Doing so will also promote consistency of the Commission's approach to the LIAR across all natural gas distribution companies. Accordingly, I encourage PGW to consider this in the future and to ask parties to address this change in their comments. Finally, PGW has stated in both its testimony and exceptions that to the extent a larger budget for LIAR is approved, it may need to reevaluate the approved budget for the voluntary portion of this program. I acknowledge that PGW's analysis and recognize that there may need to be some revision to these voluntary programs to ensure that its pipeline replacement program and other core operations are adequately funded. Therefore, I move that the Philadelphia Gas Works request for waiver of 52 PA Code Section 58.4 be denied. 2, the recommended decision be modified consistent with this motion. 3, the Office of Special Assistance prepare a tentative opinion and order consistent with this motion. 4, the active parties in this proceeding be afforded 10 days to comment. And 5, absent any comments, the tentative opinion and order become final by operation of law. Is there a second?
Second.
Properly moved and second by Commissioner Powson. Is there any discussion on the motion? Vice Chairman Place, is there any discussion?
No, thank you.
Is there any discussion on the motion?
Madam Chair, could I ask a question?
Yes, Commissioner.
Are we going to vote on the motion first, or are we going to do the polling?
The motion is taking place of the polling for items 1 and 2.
Okay, well, because I'm going to make life a little bit complicated.
And you can do that.
Okay, well, I'll try to.
It's your first meeting, you're entitled
Right.
to do that.
Because I am agreeing with the ALJ's position on issue 1, but agreeing with your motion on issue 2.
Okay. Then we have a slight dilemma, don't we? My motion combined both 1 and 2.
Well, then perhaps we rectified by I'll either vote no or I'll abstain, assuming you have sufficient support to pass the motion, and then my action wouldn't really be relevant.
Well, okay, we can do that, but do you have a comment to make before we take the vote?
No.
You do not?
No, it was a parliamentary inquiry.
Okay. Well, on the motion, because it is a combined motion dealing with items 1 and 2, all those in favor say aye.
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 And did I hear you, Vice Chairman Place, say aye?
That is correct.
Thank you. And any opposed?
I will abstain.
Okay. So we have a vote of 4-0 with 1 abstention.
And on item 2, is that an abstention or 5-0?
No,
I support your position on item 2, so that would be a vote with the chair's motion.
okay.
Thank you.
I promise not to do that again today.
Don't ever do that again.
Continuing with the items for the purpose of polling, issue number 3, Conservation Adjustment Mechanism.
I do not have my polling sheet up here. Oh, yes, I do. Sorry about that. Item number 3. Okay.
Conservation Adjustment Mechanism.
So with the polling, we just call by the commissioners' names, and we will start with Commissioner Sweet first.
ALJ, support.
Commissioner Powson,
I support the ALJ position.
Commissioner Coleman,
ALJ.
Vice Chairman Place,
ALJ.
and I also go with the ALJ.
Issue number 4, performance incentives.
Commissioner Sweet,
ALJ.
Commissioner Powson,
ALJ.
Commissioner Coleman,
ALJ.
Vice Chairman Place,
ALJ.
and I also go with the ALJ.
With regard to issue number 5, proposed pilot program, efficient fuel switching, there is a joint statement that you have, Madam Chairman, along with Commissioner Powson, as well as the statement of Vice Chairman Place.
I will call on Commissioner Powson for our joint statement or joint motion.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. The recommended decision in this matter disapproves the inclusion of PGW's efficient fuel switching program as part of its DSM. While we agree with this recommendation that PGW CHP program should not be included in its DSM, we do not substantially reject PGW's proposed fuel switching and micro CHP programs. As the chair and I have said at our February 25th, 2016 public meeting when we launched the proposed policy statement on combined heat and power, we believe that the commission should facilitate efforts to make Pennsylvania a leader in CHP deployment to more fully realize the benefits provided by CHP and enhance utilization of our indigenous shale gas resources. CHP programs can provide real benefits to the economy, the environment, and the security of residents and businesses across the Commonwealth. And I commend the governor for some leadership efforts that his office has put forth in trying to incentivize the investment in combined heat and power systems across the Commonwealth. We encourage PGW to file a separate CHP filing to address its pilot program concept so that we can address it on its merits here this morning. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Powson. I will call on Vice Chairman Place for his statement.
Thank you, Chairman. I would like my statement entered into the record as if I'd read it in its entirety. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, calling on the polling for Commissioner Sweet,
ALJ.
Commissioner Powson,
ALJ.
Commissioner Coleman,
ALJ.
Vice Chairman Place,
ALJ.
and I also go with ALJ.
Issue number 6, program announcement, priority for receipt of program service, waiver request.
Commissioner Sweet,
ALJ.
Commissioner Powson,
ALJ.
Commissioner Coleman,
ALJ.
Vice Chairman Place,
ALJ.
and I also go with the ALJ.
Issue number 7, program measure, installation into utility coordination, waiver request.
Commissioner Sweet,
ALJ.
Commissioner Powson,
ALJ.
Commissioner Coleman,
ALJ.
Vice Chairman Place,
ALJ.
and I will also go with the ALJ.
Issue number 8, PGW's proposed new low-income multifamily program.
Commissioner Sweet,
PGW.
Commissioner Powson,
PGW.
Commissioner Coleman,
PGW.
Vice Chairman Place,
PGW.
and I will also go with PGW.
Issue number 9, PGW's proposed modification to its total resource cost test. Noting your motion, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. I do have a motion on this. I ask that it be submitted into the record in its entirety, and I will do an abbreviated version of the motion. One issue which parties did not file exceptions to is PGW's proposed modification to the total resource cost test, or the TRC. The company proposes to add 2 new categories of economic benefits in its TRC test. First, the company proposes to add a demand reduction induced price effort. This accounts for the price reduction efforts that efficiency measures have on wholesale energy markets. PGW uses transparent and objective market indices to monetize the benefits realized by Pennsylvania customers in the DRIPE calculation. For instance, the company uses the TETCO-M3 gas trading point to determine the basis for gas delivery to the Philadelphia area. Second, the company proposes to add an internalized cost of carbon to its benefit calculations to the TRC. Contrary to the DRIPE, the internalized cost of carbon will not be based on actual market indices, but rather, as the company puts it, projections on the price of carbon that are likely to be incorporated in market costs for fuel. I commend PGW for its progressive proposal. Nonetheless, I believe that prudence and the commission precedent dictate that the costs included in TRC calculations be monetized based upon objective price indicators that exist for Pennsylvania utility customers. This commission currently has no objective resource against which to benchmark carbon costs as they relate to Pennsylvania. Until such time that as the Commonwealth creates such a market, joins a regional carbon market, or if the federal government creates a national carbon market, any attempt by this commission to assign cost to carbon would be speculative. Consequently, I propose that PGW retain its internalized cost of carbon calculations, separately track these benefits to its Phase 2 DMS, but ultimately not include these benefits in its TRC. If and when Pennsylvania enters into a system that monetizes carbon, PGW shall be permitted to include carbon reduction benefits in the company's TRC calculation. Therefore, I move that the total resource cost test of PGW's Demand-Side Management Plan 2 be modified consistent with this motion, and that the Office of Special Assistance prepare an opinion and order consistent with this motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Sweet. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
Madam Chairman, we have an individual statement of Vice Chairman Place as well as an individual statement of Commissioner Sweet.
Vice Chairman Place, I will call upon you for your statement.
Thank you, Chairman. I would like my statement entered into the record as if I read it in its entirety. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Sweet, for your statement.
Really the same here, that the statement be read in its, I'm going to give an abbreviation, but would like the statement in the record as though I read it entirely. I do want to just say one quick thing, and that is that PGW should take from at least my votes, and I think those of others, no negative inference about a number of the very good ideas that were proposed and are worthy of some consideration. I think the short, pithy way to express the view is that it's the right church but the wrong pew today. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Sweet, and I do concur in those comments.
Madam Chairman and Commissioners, that does conclude the conduct of the poll. This being a binding poll has the effect of a vote of the commission. The staff will prepare an order consistent with the commission's action for review and entry. Continuing now with the presentation of agenda items and matters on behalf of the Bureau of Audits. On page 2 of the public meeting agenda, it is recommended that the commission adopt the 2 recommendations with regard to Orwell Natural Gas Company Walker Gas Division and Orwell Natural Gas Company Clarion River Gas Division, and the recommendation to release the audit reports with regard to gas court rate collections.
Do I have a motion to adopt staff recommendations?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Coleman, second by Commissioner Powson. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
On behalf of the Office of Competitive Market Oversight, commencing on page 3 of the public meeting agenda, it is recommended that the commission adopt the recommendations, commencing with that in the matter entitled Smart Meter Technology with regard to the Electronic Data Exchange Working Group's recommendations of standards pertaining to the acquisition of historical interval usage and billing quality interval use data via secure web portals. Continuing with the remaining items on pages 3 and 4 through and including the recommendation in the proceeding noted as UGI Utilities, Inc., Gas Division, UGI Penn Natural Gas, Inc., and UGI Central Penn Gas, Inc., with regard to their NGS access to UGI customer account numbers.
Do I have a motion to adopt the staff recommendations?
So moved.
Second.
I heard Vice Chairman Place move, I believe. Did I hear that correctly?
That's correct.
Yes, okay. And a second by Commissioner Sweet. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Turning now to matters presented on behalf of the Office of Special Assistance, commencing with the matter at the top of page 5 involving the complaint proceeding of the Attorney General of Pennsylvania and Office of Consumer Advocate versus IDT Energy, Inc. It is recommended that the Commission adopt the staff recommendation in that proceeding, as well as the remaining item on page 5 and the items on page 6, except the item in the middle pertaining to Ruth Sanchez versus PPL Electric Utilities Corporation, which has been postponed until public meeting of July 21st. The omnibus continues with the items appearing on pages 7 and 8 through and including the recommendation in the complaint proceeding involving Nancy and Jim Colbert versus Pico Energy Company.
Do I have a motion to adopt staff recommendations?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Coleman, second by Commissioner Powelson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
On behalf of the Bureau of Technical Utility Services, it is recommended that the Commission adopt the staff recommendations, commencing with the one appearing at the top of page 9 in the proceeding involving the application of PennDOT with regard to a crossing in Delaware County, continuing with the remaining recommendations on pages 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, through and including the matter titled Access Fiber Solutions, Inc., and their application seeking approval for the discontinuance and abandonment of competitive access provider services in Pennsylvania.
Do I have a motion to adopt the staff recommendations?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Powelson, a joint second by Commissioners Coleman and Sweet. Everyone just wants to, so that's good. Any discussion? Hearing none. The motion passes 5-0. Oh, no, I didn't take the vote. Sorry about that. Any discussion? Let me call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
It is recommended on behalf of the Law Bureau that the Commission adopt the first 2 items appearing on page 14 with regard to the matter titled Public Wireless, Inc., as well as the matter pertaining to the petition of PennDOT.
Do I have a motion to adopt staff recommendations?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Coleman, second by Commissioner Powelson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
With regard to the Yellow Cab Company of Pittsburgh, Inc., TA Yellow Z's request for a waiver of the Commission's regulation establishing a 2-year limitation on experimental authority, there is your motion, Madam Chairman, as well as a statement of Commissioner Powelson with regard to the motion.
Do I have a motion to call up the matter for consideration?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Powelson, second by Commissioner Coleman to call up the matter for consideration. Under discussion, I do have a motion that I will ask that it be submitted for the record in its entirety, but I will read a portion of it. Or I may be reading the entire thing, actually. Before the Commission is a petition for waiver of Commission Regulation 52 PA Code Section 29.352, filed by Yellow Cab Company of Pittsburgh Incorporated, doing business as Yellow Z. On July 1st, 2014, Yellow Cab was issued a certificate of public convenience to operate experimental service. Consistent with 52 PA Code Section 29.352, the experimental authority would only be valid until abandoned until 2 years from the date of issuance or until the commission enacts regulations governing the new class of service, whichever occurs first. To date, Yellow Cab has not abandoned service, nor has the commission enacted regulations governing the experimental service. The 2-year period is set to expire on July 1st, 2016. I am persuaded that waiving the 2-year limitation of experimental authority is appropriate. Yellow Cab has complied with all of the requirements of our order, and its service record indicates safe operations. Pursuant to our regulations, we are authorized to waive regulatory requirements when deemed appropriate. Given the momentum behind TNC legislation in the General Assembly, it would be unnecessarily disruptive to Yellow Cab's business and the convenience of the traveling public to make the company's discontinue service right now. As such, I believe that a waiver of the 2-year limitation under our regulations is merited so as to permit Yellow Cab to continue operating TNC service for an additional 1 year until July 1st, 2017. Therefore, I move that the petition for waiver of Yellow Cab Company of Pittsburgh be granted and Yellow Cab be permitted to continue operating until July 1st, 2017, and that the Law Bureau draft an opinion and order consistent with this motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Properly second by Commissioner Coleman. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I have a statement that I'd like to have entered into the record here this morning regarding this particular matter involving Yellow Z. The authority for Yellow Z to provide this experimental TNC service will expire, as we know, tomorrow. The actions, obviously, that we take here today, as you alluded to in your motion, will give the company a regulatory approval path to July 1st, 2017. It's the, quote, thereafter that has us all concerned here at the bench. And I think it's basically, I want to stress here today that regardless of today's outcome, there is still a pressing need for the Pennsylvania General Assembly to address this issue. The requested waiver before us today only grants, again, Yellow Z a temporary extension to continue to operate its TNC service. And I want to commend the company because here is a traditional cab company that has innovated its business model to serve the general public. And I'd like to think we had a little hand in that approval and the ability for companies like Yellow Z to bring and compete against some of the other companies that are out there in the TNC marketplace. So again, we all look forward to continuing to work with the General Assembly to craft a legislative solution that will pave the way for this new and innovative transportation service to continue here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And I note on my calendar, July 1st, 2017, a very big date that could have ramifications if there is not legislation that codifies what a transportation network company is here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And I commend the chairman for her motion here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Powelson. Any other comments? I, too, would like to concur in Commissioner Powelson's comments because, as we've stressed time and time again, it is very important that legislation be passed. So we encourage our friends across the street to do so in a timely manner. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0. On the matter, as amended by the motion, if there's no objection, we'll just take the previous roll call. Hearing none, the matter as amended by the motion is approved 5-0.
Turning now to matters presented on behalf of the Office of Administrative Law Judge. It is recommended that the Commission adopt ALJ Pell and Heap's recommended decision in the matter involving the Pico Energy Company's petition for a distribution system improvement charge for its gas operations.
Is there a motion to adopt staff recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Coleman, second by Commissioner Sweet. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
And it is recommended that the Commission adopt A.L.J. Johnson's recommended decision approving the settlement in the proceeding involving National Fuel Gas Distribution Corporation's annual purchase gas cost filing.
Is there a motion to adopt the recommended decision?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Coleman, second by Commissioner Sweet. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
Madam Chairman and Commissioners, that does conclude the presentation of regular agenda items. Turning now to the carry-in agenda. On behalf of the Bureau of Technical Utility Services, it is recommended that the Commission adopt the recommendation involving Airbus D Communications, Inc., application for approval to offer, render, furnish, or supply telecommunication services.
Do I have a motion to adopt the staff recommendations?
So moved.
So moved.
We had a motion by Commissioner Powelson with a chime in by Vice Chairman Place, so I will include you as the second, if that's okay with you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Turning now to the supplemental carry-in agenda, there appears the ratification of the appointment of Richard Kanaski to the Director of the Bureau of Investigation and Enforcement position.
Today, we announced the appointment of Richard Kanaski as Director of the Bureau of Investigation and Enforcement. Richard currently serves as the Deputy Chief Prosecutor in the PUC's Bureau of I&E and is replacing Johnny Sims, who retired recently after a long career here. Richard began his career with the Commission in March of 2001 as a prosecutor in the former PUC Office of Trial Staff, later advancing to Senior Prosecutor. His responsibilities have included directing and overseeing prosecutions and investigations. He also has significant experience in utilizing litigation and mediation settlements and the other problem-solving solutions. He received his bachelor's degree in economics from Bucknell University and his law degree from Widener University of Law. He is also a 2012 graduate of the PUC's Emerging Leaders Program. During his service at the Commission, Richard has been an integral part of our prosecution and investigation processes. His knowledge of utility investigation and enforcement issues and the Commission's operations will suit him well in his new position. So with that, do I have a motion to ratify the appointment of Richard Kanaski to the position of Director of Bureau of Investigation and Enforcement?
A glowing motion. A glowing.
Glowing.
Can we use adjectives like that?
You can. And do we have a glowing second?
We do indeed.
Motion by Commissioner Powelson and second by Commissioner Coleman. Any other glowing comments or discussion? Vice Chairman Place, do you have any glowing comments for us?
Absolutely, but I'll restrain since I'm on the phone. Well-deserved appointment.
Okay, with that, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Congratulations to Rick, and we do note that his wife, Mary Lou, is here with us today, sitting in the front. So we welcome you here to the Commission. And with that, are there any other items on the official business before we gavel out for further items?
Madam Chairman, other than the retirement of Lenora Best to follow, there are no remaining matters.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned.